Hey 2D Design. So we just finished creating a color wheel, and we talked about how the primaries make the secondaries, and then you put those triangles out into the wheel, and then when you add those together, you get your tertiaries, the third sets. What this is the rainbow in a color wheel, and it affects how we end up choosing our color schemes when we make our paintings. And I discussed the color schemes in another video: achromatic, which we've done black and white; monochromatic being a hue plus tints, tones, and shades, black, white, and gray; complements, which is the opposites on the color wheel. Oops, sorry, opposites here, here, here. That is what we're going to kind of investigate in some of these next little studies. Analogous being close to each other on the color wheel; triadic being something that sits in a triangle; primary, secondary, tertiary; and then warm and cool, which I also discussed in the other video. So we finished making our color wheel, and we're going to shift over to making some little tests. So I want us to start with this mixing neutrals and chromatic grays handout, and hopefully you have enough paint left over from the previous mixing that you don't have to start over. What this says to us is that we had put like a small Hershey's Kiss size glob of paint out, and the yellow we went through, but the red we used less of it, and the blue even less. That's our tinting strength. That means that these are more aggressive. But hopefully you don't really have to remix. So here we are with this color mixing. I'm actually going to shift to a little bit wider synthetic brush. I cleaned my water earlier a little bit, and I'm going to just follow the recipe here. I'm going to start with my blue. And then it says to mix with 90% white. So just a little bit of the blue. So here I'm going to get my white. And I have a little extra room here on the outside where I'm going to put a big Hershey's Kiss size of white. And then I might need some more along the way, but hopefully that'll be enough. And this is our tinting exercises and making some neutralizations. So I'm going to take a big chunk of white, maybe like a chocolate kiss or chocolate chip size, and I'm going to move into my palette, and I'm going to use a little bit of blue. And you can see how far it goes, how fast. And I'm going to paint that one. So that we have a nice tint. And you can see that the opacity has really changed when we add that white. We don't have it, but if you really like painting, you can buy a transparent mixing white. Sometimes it's called zinc, and it keeps your colors from getting Easter eggy kind of color, like pastel-y. They stay vibrant and with a higher chroma. Okay, so it says now take that mixture and add a tiny bit of orange. I put 5%, but just tiny bit. And the idea here is this is where we are neutralizing across the color wheel. These are the complements, so they're opposites, and they cancel each other out. So we're going to take a little bit and see what happens. Take my orange, just like less than that, tiny bit. I don't want it to turn orange. I want it to just kind of get duller. Oh, I'm going to use a little more. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. So a little more. And this is like if you wanted to start to make flesh tones or the sky, the world around you, these lower chroma colors, this is how you do it. So I'm not wanting it to turn orange, I'm just wanting it to kind of gray out. And when I teach painting in an all-day Friday painting class, we really get into this, and this is the heart of what makes people's paintings really beautiful. So I'm going to take that pretty kind of neutralized, paint that there. That's really lovely. And then it says to take that above mixture and add a little bit of any tertiary of your choice. So this is where you're just gonna kind of make some more fun colors. Mine got a little thin, so I'm gonna grab the rest of this. I'm gonna put a little more white in it. A little orange to get back to where I was. So it's just a lot more grayed out than that first one that's a higher chroma, kind of brighter intensity. So your tertiaries are any of the ones that are labeled 3s. So I'm gonna see if maybe I add a red violet. I'm just gonna see what happens. Just a little bit, so that you can practice just making new colors. That's pretty. So this bottom row is gonna kind of be a mix of whatever. And it's where you can start to say, okay, what do I think I want my color design for this project, my dynamic design for my brand story? What colors do I want to use? And here's where you can be starting to test and mix some stuff up. And the idea is that often when people start working with color, whether it's the subtractive negative color mixture of paint, they work out of the tube, but they also do it in Photoshop or Procreate in digital ways, and it's more fun if you get into some of these more complicated colors. Okay, so then we're going to do the exact same thing across the chart, but we'll just follow the colors along. You can see that I've listed the complements: blue, orange, red, green, yellow, violet down the way. So I talked about in the color video where we talked about the histories and the theories, that when you put complements next to each other like this, the orange and the blue out of the tube here, the higher chroma, that they do something called simultaneous contrast, and they really visually kind of shake in the picture plane. So that's a way to create a kind of tension and brightness. Okay, so again, it says orange plus a lot of white. Just a little bit of orange, lots of white. So my tinting strength of my orange is not as strong as my blue. A little more. Might grab a little more. I'm actually going to use it all because we're done with the oranges at this point. And it makes this really pretty peach. So again, hopefully you're making a lot of fun colors and you're starting to decide, okay, what can I use for my brand story? And I can have some more control over these different colors. So I'm gonna neutralize it now. I'm gonna add a tiny, 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 tiny bit of blue. Like the smallest, that's too much, I think, because I know this has got a heavy tinting strength. Yeah, that's so strong. So I kind of neutralize it out. And you can see, I mean, that would probably be something that I might use for a highlight on my skin or something along those lines. But they get more complicated the more you mix across the color wheel, and these are called chromatic grays. So here we have this little bit of a richer, kind of grayed out, bluish, pretty color. And then the above with any tertiary of your choice. So I want to see if I can maybe make it a little bit more on the green side. So it's these subtle kind of moves that are helping you build your palette. Oops, come on now. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, and then around through the rest of the complement. So I might finish this real quick without talking, and then you can follow along with me. And then we will do this next color exercise together here. And then the hope is by the end of these, you have a really good understanding of how to mix color, how to neutralize against the opposites, how to tint things. On this one, we'll talk about shading, where we put darks into something using our black and some grays. And we will go from here. So I'm gonna, at this point, stop talking and just finish out this part of the worksheet, because it's the same, but just using the different beginning hue. And I will come back in a little bit with another video to walk you through this one. Okay, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so if you hung on with me for that long, we will meet back up in another video and I will start to talk about when we work through with some of our darker values. Okay, we'll see you in a minute. Thanks.